Ever wonder if putting your own personal name or a legal trust on your property ownership actually matters? That choice can stack up six figures or drain them away with taxes later. Get it wrong, and changing later can trigger stamp duty and capital gain tax, a self-inflicted hit that wipes out years of gains. Hi, I'm Rasti, and after building an 18 property Australian portfolio, I'll walk you through when to keep it personal, when a trust, a spatial holding structure, is smarter, and how next level investors combine both to really scale, even if you're brand new to property investing. Let's start where most investors begin, buying in your personal name. It's the simplest choice, less paperwork, lower setup costs. And for good reason. It offers two powerful tax benefits. First, negative gearing, meaning if you spend more on your property than you earn in rent, you can use that loss to pay less tax on your salary. It's like your investment loss gives you a tax break on your job income. Second, the 50% capital gain tax discount. If you hold the property for more than a year, you only pay tax on half the profit when you sell. Let's look at it with an example. Imagine Sarah, a first-time investor. In her first year, she spends more on the property than she earns in rent. Thanks to negative gearing, Sarah pays less tax, making the investment more affordable. And when she eventually sells after holding for more than a year, she'll only pay tax on half the profit. But here's the trap. There is zero asset protection. It's a bit like parking your car in a busy street with no insurance. You're fine until something goes wrong. If Sarah is sued at work, her property is up for grabs. And if she starts earning more, all her rental income gets taxed at a higher marginal tax rate. The more you earn, the more tax you pay. If you're self-employed or in a high-risk profession like a doctor or lawyer, your entire asset is exposed to creditors or litigation. So before you buy in your own name, ask yourself, are you comfortable with that risk? This is why smart, high net worth investors often gravitate towards a trust. The main reason is protection. Imagine the Smith family. The investment property is legally owned by a trust, managed by a trustee for the benefit of their family. If someone sues a family member, the property is shielded because it's owned by the trust, not the individual. Trusts also offer immense tax flexibility. The trustee can split rental income or profits among family members in lower tax brackets, which can mean a much lower overall tax bill. And yes, trusts can still access the 50% capital gain tax discount. So if you sell after a year, you only pay tax on half the profit. But here comes the catch, the negative gearing trap. If your trust property runs at a loss, that loss is stuck inside the trust. It's like putting your losses in a locked box. You can't use them to reduce your personal tax. So if you need negative gearing to afford the property, a trust may not be the right for you. And here's a critical insight for Australian investors, the land tax trap. In many states like New South Wales, trusts lose the tax-free threshold, the amount of land value you can own before land tax starts, and pay land tax from the very first dollar. This can seriously bump on your holding cost over time. So before you set up a trust, model the numbers for your state. This one detail could make or break your strategy. So before you choose a trust, ask yourself, can you afford to lose out on negative gearing? And have you checked your state's land tax rules? So if trusts trap losses, why do sophisticated investors still use them to build massive portfolios? Because they use an advanced lending hack called trust silos or endless borrowing capacity. Here's how it works with a real world example. Imagine Jane, an investor who has hit her personal borrowing limit. By setting up a trust managed by a corporate trustee, that's just a company she controls, she buys a property where the rent fully covers the expenses. This is called debt siloing, meaning each property's loan is kept separate from the personal finances. Because the property pays for itself, some lenders don't count this debt against her next loan application. Jane can then set up a second trust, buy another self-sufficient property, and repeat the process, scaling her portfolio faster than she could in her own name. But here's the crucial step. Every property must be cash flow positive from the start, meaning the rent covers all costs, or becomes so soon. If one runs at a loss, the debt gets stuck to Jane's name and blocks her from borrowing more. That's why this is a team sport. Your accountant sets the rules, your solicitor drafts the contracts, and I, as your buyer's agent, find the high yield properties that make the whole strategy work. Now, here's the trade off. Properties with strong cash flow help you scale faster, but often grow in value slowly. Growth focused properties, on the other hand, may take longer to pay for themselves, but can boost your wealth over time. As rents rise or your loan shrinks, even growth properties can eventually free up your borrowing power. So, before you buy, ask yourself, what's your priority? Scaling fast or building long-term wealth? Pick your tilt before you dive in. You now know more about ownership structure than 99% of property investors. You also know this decision must be made at the start because fixing it later can be painfully expensive. But here's the transformation you need. You must align your legal structure with the right property. Imagine you set up a trust for asset protection and scaling, but buy a property that loses money every month. That trust silo can't help you because the losses get trapped and you can't use them to reduce your tax. On the flip side, if you buy in your personal name for simplicity and negative gearing, you need to make sure the property's growth is explosive enough to justify the risk. My job as your independent buyer's agent isn't to do your taxes. It's to take the financial blueprint your accountant and solicitors confirm, whether it's a simple personal purchase or a complex trust structure, and use research-backed data to secure an asset that fits those exact requirements in the right location at the right price. We make sure your property doesn't just look good on paper, it performs in the real world according to the demands of your legal structure. So before you buy, ask yourself, is your structure working with your property or against it? The decision to choose a structure is overwhelming. But once you commit to a strategy, execution requires surgical precision. Don't spend weeks modeling land tax differences in New South Wales versus Queensland, only to buy an underperforming property that breaks your entire structure. Imagine perfecting your blueprint but choosing the wrong asset. It's like building a race car and forgetting the engine. Your next step is simple. Confirm your strategy with a legal professional, then book a complimentary private property alignment strategy session with me. In this session, we'll analyze your chosen ownership structure, personal, trust or company, and map out the exact location, yield criteria, as in how much income the property should generate, and asset profile needed to make that structure a success. Planning to scale with trust silos? We'll pinpoint the cash flow positive assets you need to unlock your next purchase. Click the link below to book your personal alignment strategy session now. Let's make sure your powerful financial structure is matched with the right asset to deliver generational wealth. Like this video, subscribe for more research-backed property insights, and I'll see you soon.